again. So we want to continue where we have left off on the June 2016 paper 1 question, right? So what we're going to look at is from question 41 to 60. And it says here in the first question here, which of the following must be placed in front of the column letter and row number to create an absolute cell reference here? And we know that we must include our dollar sign there. So the dollar sign represents that process. So 42 is at the top here. It says you need to enter the text weekly report to appear in the middle of the space by the 5 columns below. Which of the following spreadsheet commands will enable this to be done? So for our weekly report to be in the center there, we must do a process which is known as merge and center. So we do a process merge and center here. 43, it says which of the following can be used in a spreadsheet to copy the same number across the multiple rows in a single column. We could use a process which is known as fill handle. 44 here says in a spreadsheet the column titles will always be visible when you scroll the spreadsheet if you first freeze the top rows. So if you freeze the top rows, it will allow the column titles to always be visible. The 5 says here, which of the following is the correct sequence of steps to delete a field in a database table? So in a database table, any changes or modification that you need to do, you must first go to design view. So first you need to open the table in design view, select the row to be deleted and right click, choose the delete option and confirm yes. So B is your answer. Next one over here, which 47, which of the following flowchart symbols represent a process? So we know these are flowchart symbols, and the first one A represents a process, the rectangular shape. So it involves any calculation that needs to take place. C represents a decision box, and D represents input and output. It says program debugging should be performed, and debugging is a process of finding and fixing errors. So you can debug during the design phase or during the testing phase. Program debugging should be performed during your what? Testing phase. In representing algorithms, which of the following statements would be placed in the flowchart box here? Remember that this box represents processing, right? A greater than 25. Here is a condition which we use in if statements or loops. So that is just a condition. Read A represents input, output C represents an output, and count, where we see the arrow represents equal, count plus 1. So this is a process. So we would say D could go in the box. Alright, 46 over here, so it says consider the following algorithm here. A is equal to 7, B is equal to 9. A is equal to B minus A. So we need to take 7 from 9. A now becomes 2. Transfer that 2 here, so 2 plus 9 give us 11, right? A and B, so it's 2 and 11. data that cannot be changed during the execution of a program are called constants. Variables will change. Characters are just letters and symbols. Strings are like text or words. It says, which of the following task does the algorithm below perform? It says read A and B. So read A and B are input. If A is less than B, then print A. If A is less than B. So we're going to read through. It says read two numbers and print the first if it is smaller than the second one. And that's what it is outputting here. So the answer would be D. The term end and stop used in algorithms are called terminators. The last step in creating a program is to do what is the last step? You have to test the program. So we have to test it. Type of programming language in which instructions are written using abbreviated forms of words is known as assembly language. So assembly uses short pieces of code. 57 here is saying we have a short piece of code here. Sum is equal to 0. Count is given here. It says while count is less than 10, do count is equal to that. So we could ignore this little statement here representing the code and go to the question, which says if the while loop is to be executed 10 times, what should be the initial value stored in count? So they want to know what value would put in count for you to execute this program 10 times. So the initial value for count could be 0. So once you start from 0, 0 is less than 10, the program would start and it would execute 10 times, because as long as the number here is less than 10, it will count. So if you put 10 here, so 10 is not less than 10, so the program would stop. So to get the program to execute 10 times, I would have to start count from 0. So that I would say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 9 is less than 10. So the program would execute 10 times. So the answer would be A, 0. Which of the following is a valid Pascal data type? So a valid Pascal data type is considered to be real numbers. String is also a Pascal data type. Integer is also a character. What type of errors are caused by not following the rules of a particular computer programming language when creating a software? So we say the type of rules that are not followed is known as syntax errors. Right, 58 here says this is a simple algorithm. User for length width area equal to length times width area of rectangle is. So we must have a prompt stage. Prompt is normally the first instruction. So the user for length and width, so would enter that. You're asking for length and width. The person would enter the length and width, and to find the area here, you'd have to multiply length times width. and then you would output the area of the rectangle is. So first you would have to prompt the person, read and store the data, and you'd write which is part of the output. So 58 is C. So let me do 60 here. What is the most appropriate control structure to be used for calculating the total of 10 numbers? What is the most appropriate construct to use to calculate a total of 10 numbers? So I would use a for do, because you know the amount of numbers that you are working with. So you use a for do loop here once you are given the amount of time. This one here says which 59 says which of the following is the Pascal code used to declare an array word with 20 letters. So because it is going to contain letters, letters can be represented as characters. So you must always declare your variable name, then you use a colon, and then you write that it is going to be an array because of the data of the same type. Of what character? So we would use C, var to represent variables. Variable name is word, array 1 to 20. Remember that it must have the 2 dots in the number representation, and then characters to represent the data type for letters. And that's where we leave it, guys. So remember to watch the part 1 of this to continue from questions 1 to 40, and this is question 41 to 60. Alright, stay tuned for more and have a good day.